Disclaimer: this video will contain very heavy spoilers for the story of A Plague Tale: Innocence. So A Plague Tale: Innocence is a beautiful game about an orphan girl and her 5-year-old brother trying their hardest to survive in a landscape ravaged by war and the Black Plague. It's a narrative experience that's not entirely unlike The Last of Us in its tone. Both are a journey about survival and fleeting hope, but this one has just a slight supernatural twist. So you play as children, not grizzled veterans as you usually do, and the game accurately reflects the sense of vulnerability through mostly having stealth mechanics and just very light cursory combat. Trying to fight an adult towering over you feels inconceivable. You can sling rocks all you want, but the second you run into somebody with a weapon or a knight wearing armor, it's kind of a death sentence to try and fight them. The rats in the game feel just as oppressive and impossible to overcome. Their loud, piercing squeaking in the quiet dark keeps you constantly at edge. Their behavior feels just as manic and unpredictable. In a setting still devoid of modern science, it becomes the kind of horror that's indistinguishable from supernatural. So the game constantly forces you to face these impossible choices. The best you can hope to manage is to either hide or run away. You trek desperately from one village over to the next, each journey as long and perilous as it is daunting. This was the version I hoped and I thought that I was getting. And you know what? To its credit, for the first half, it does deliver. It's atmospheric, it's visually stunning, and it handles the somewhat difficult nuance of playing as vulnerable children pretty well. Considering the game is also basically one long escort mission, it's pretty commendable it succeeds on making that enjoyable too. I know there was always a specific story that needed telling. Everything that happens is always foreshadowed, but as the game expands its mechanics to try to keep things engaging, it kind of ends up breaking the story in the process. Video game critics often throw the term ludonarrative dissonance around to describe the kind of game where you spend the whole campaign slaughtering hundreds of unnamed henchmen, and then suddenly at the end you forgive the villain because you're above violence. I don't think the story and gameplay are dissonant in A Plague Tale. I think they spiral out of control together in perfect harmony. The grounded, haunting game I imagined all in my head was never actually promised by the developers. It was just a lie I told myself. And it was just a lie I wanted the game to be. I personally love stories that have lower stakes and feel more personal. I'm sick of plots where you have to save the world or galaxy or multiverses or whatever. Give me Oberdin with its low-stakes mystery of, just filling out an insurance form. Give me Soma with its quest to send a hard drive into space. Give me Fury with a quick boss rush to escape prison. Give me something simple and self-contained, and I know I'll love it. So when Plague Tale decides to raise the stakes, and in doing so going off the rails to cosmic-level absurdity, I just feel lost. This game wasn't ever for me. Suddenly the game is about bloodlines and mind control powers and a pope who wants to harvest your brother's blood to harness his own rat powers for reasons. The combat in this game becomes this absolute mess of you mowing down entire battalions after battalions of soldiers with just a slingshot and some magical rocks. You're teleported across entire countrysides, Game of Thrones Season 8 style between each chapter, and I wasn't in the mood for a shonen anime in my semi-realistic historical setting. I didn't want to see the crazy whatever of rats becoming actual tornadoes. That's not me exaggerating, by the way. They come at you at actual tornadoes because that's just what this game becomes. Don't get me wrong, I like a lot of really dumb things. I love Morbius. I thought Riverdale was sublime. The Yakuza series has a special place in my heart for its tone that essentially borders on schizophrenia. But these shows and movies and games, they still feel authentic to what they are, or at least what they're trying to be. A Plague Tale just doesn't. It's like the narrative equivalent of unmasking a Scooby-Doo villain. And maybe that's just the thing. It's not like this was unearned. There's a natural progression to everything. The game has crafting, so it's obviously going to have more combat. You have an alchemist that's a companion for the majority of the campaign, so magical rocks aren't really coming out of nowhere. Even the rat tornadoes are kind of hinted at. In an earlier chapter, you see the rats walking around in mysterious spirals. The game starts with the Inquisition hunting your brother, specifically, so I guess even the Pope thing is not unaccounted for. So maybe it was never the game that lied. Maybe it was just me lying to myself. The tone was always there and hinted at, I guess I preferred staying blind. But you know what I really missed? I missed the tone of the earlier chapters in this game. You walk into a village where the plague just struck, all these houses with an X on the outside, all these windows boarded up, and doors locked, people stuck inside their homes, just quietly peering out and observing you. There's this eerie, pervasive silence that feels equal parts oppressive and beautiful. And that's the game I fell in love with. That's the story I wanted to see to the ending. I know the game never actually promised to keep things that way, but I can't help but feel it still broke a promise of some kind. Personally, I don't think I'd recommend this game to anyone. I loved it for what it was, but I just really hated it for what it ended up becoming. Maybe I only loved the pretend version in my head. Or maybe I was just always going to hate this game. I expected it to be something it was not.